Picture this. Two coworkers, same salary, same company, 401k, same starting date. 10 years later, one of them has $11,000 more in their retirement account than the other. Same income, same contributions, same market. The only difference? One of them is a woman. And here's the part that'll make your brain short circuit. The woman barely touched her account. The man? He was active. He was engaged. He was doing all the things personal finance gurus tell you to do. And he lost. My name is Maya, and I spend way too much time thinking about behavioral finance and why smart people make terrible money decisions. If you're someone who feels like you're doing everything right with your investments, watching the market, moving things around, staying informed, but your portfolio still isn't where you want it to be, hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Because what I'm about to tell you might be the most uncomfortable, most liberating thing you hear all year. Now look, I know what some of you are already thinking. Maya, this sounds like one of those feel-good videos where we just celebrate women for 10 minutes. That is not what this is. This is about data. Cold, uncomfortable, portfolio-destroying data. And the data says something that the financial industry has spent decades quietly ignoring. Here's the thing. Fidelity Investments did an internal analysis of 5.2 million investment accounts. 5.2 million. And what they found was that women outperformed men by 0.4% annually on average. That sounds small, but let me show you what 0.4% actually means in real money over time, because this is where it gets interesting. If you invest $500 a month starting at 25, by 65, you'd have roughly $1.76 million at a 7% annual return. Now add just 0.4% to that rate. Bump it to 7.4%. You're now looking at $1.87 million. That's a difference of over $110,000 from 0.4%, from what most people would call a rounding error. That is not a feel-good statistic. That is a compounding statistic, and it has a very specific psychological explanation. Here's what most people don't realize. The biggest enemy of your investment portfolio is not inflation. It's not fees. It's not even picking the wrong stocks. It's you. Specifically, it's your confidence in your own ability to time the market. Researchers Barber and Odean, two behavioral economists at UC Berkeley, published a landmark study called Boys Will Be Boys. And yes, that's the actual title. They analyzed 35,000 households' brokerage accounts over 6 years. And here's what they found. Men traded 45% more than women. 45% more. And because of that excess trading, men reduced their net returns by 2.65% per year. Women reduced theirs by 1.72%. Now, you might be thinking, wait, both groups are hurting their returns by trading? Yes, that's the whole point. Every time you trade, you pay transaction costs. You create taxable events. And statistically, you are almost certainly buying and selling at the wrong time. The market doesn't reward activity. It rewards patience. Think of it like this. Your investment portfolio is like a bar of soap. The more you handle it, the smaller it gets. So, let's get specific about the behaviors, because this isn't magic. These are learnable, copyable habits. Behavior number 1. Women trade less. This goes back to overconfidence. Multiple studies show that men, particularly in finance contexts, consistently overestimate their ability to predict market movements. This is called overconfidence bias, and it's expensive. The average actively managed portfolio, one that's being moved around constantly, underperforms a simple index fund about 85 to 90% of the time over a 15-year horizon. 85 to 90%. Most active traders lose to doing basically nothing. Women, on average, are more comfortable sitting with uncertainty. They don't feel the same psychological pressure to act just to feel in control. And that restraint? It's worth thousands of dollars. Behavior number 2. Women research more before making decisions. Here's the thing. This is actually counterintuitive because we might assume more research leads to more trading. But the research shows the opposite. Women tend to spend more time evaluating an investment before they enter a position, which means when they do buy, they're more convicted. They hold longer, and holding longer is almost always the winning strategy in equities. Behavior number 3, women are more likely to ask for help. Now look, I know that sounds soft, but from a financial outcomes perspective, it's massive. Working with a financial advisor, using robo-advisors, seeking out information, these behaviors correlate with better retirement outcomes. Pride is expensive in investing. Asking, I don't understand this, explain it to me, before committing $10,000 is not weakness. It's due diligence. Now, this is the part of the video where it gets complicated, because if women are better investors, why do women retire with significantly less money than men? The median retirement savings for women in America is about $57,000. For men, it's $118,000. That's a gap of $61,000. How do you square that with everything I just told you? Here's the answer, and it matters. Being a better investor doesn't fix a systemic income problem. The gender pay gap is real and documented. Women are more likely to leave the workforce temporarily to provide caregiving for children, for aging parents. Those years out of the workforce mean years without employer 401k matches. Social Security benefits are calculated on your 35 highest earning years. If you have gaps, those years get filled in with zeros. Zeros. That drags your lifetime benefit down significantly. So here's the psychological trap that a lot of women fall into. You see the retirement savings gap. You assume you're bad at investing. You feel behind. And then you either disengage entirely, what's the point? Or you never start because the mountain looks too high. But that conclusion is wrong. The gap isn't because of investing behavior. It's despite superior investing behavior. And understanding why the gap exists is what lets you actually close it. Let me give you a real scenario. Sarah is 32 years old. She took 4 years out of the workforce in her late 20s for caregiving. She's now making $68,000 a year. Her employer matches 4% of her 401k contributions. She currently has $22,000 saved. If Sarah contributes 10% of her income, $6,800 per year, plus her employer's $2,720 match, she's putting in $9,520 annually. At 7% average annual growth, by 65, she'll have approximately $1.04 million. Now here's the behavior piece. If Sarah panic sells during the next market crash, and there will be a next market crash, and stays in cash for just 6 months before reinvesting, studies show she could lose an average of 3 to 5% in long-term returns just from that one decision. That's potentially $30,000 to $50,000 over the life of her portfolio from one emotional reaction. The investing behavior is the lever she can control. The income gap is harder, but the behavior gap, that's immediate. That's this week. This is where it gets actionable. And I want to be specific because vague financial advice is just financial entertainment. It sounds good and changes nothing. Step 1. Audit your trading frequency. Log into your brokerage account and literally count how many trades you made in the last 12 months. If you're making more than 10 to 12 moves per year in a long-term account, you are almost certainly hurting yourself. Set up automatic contributions and then, and I mean this, schedule a calendar reminder to review your portfolio quarterly. Not monthly, not weekly, quarterly. Step 2. Automate everything you possibly can. The single highest return financial behavior documented across gender and income level is automation. Automatic 401k contributions, automatic IRA contributions, automatic index fund purchases. Why? Because it removes the decision. You cannot make an emotional trading decision if the trade already happened while you were asleep. Step 3. Know your fee drag. Pull up every fund in your portfolio right now and look at the expense ratio. If anything is above 0.5%, you need to understand why. A fund with a 1% expense ratio versus a 0.05% expense ratio on $100,000 over 30 years at 7% growth costs you approximately $175,000. That is not a typo. Fees are the silent wealth killer, and most people have no idea what they're paying. Step 4. Stop trying to be interesting. Here's the thing. Interesting portfolios are usually underperforming portfolios. The boring three-fund portfolio, a total US market index, a total international index, and a bond fund in an age-appropriate allocation has beaten most actively managed funds over every 20-year rolling period in modern market history. Boring is not a bug. Boring is the feature. Here's what I want you to walk away with today. The data does not say women are lucky. It doesn't say women have some innate financial gift. It says that specific, learnable behaviors, patience, research, lower overconfidence, willingness to ask for help, produce better long-term investment outcomes. Full stop. And those behaviors are not genetic. They're not hormonal. They're habits, which means every single person watching this video right now can adopt them starting today. The market doesn't care about your gender. It doesn't care about your confidence. It doesn't care how often you check your app or how sophisticated your strategy sounds at dinner parties. It cares about time and consistency and getting out of your own way. The best investors aren't the most active ones. They're the most disciplined ones. Be disciplined. Be boring. Get wealthy. I'll see you in the next video.